think that is actually a critical differentiator, not having to trade. Like literally not, like if you're managing other people's money, you have to do things. So you will trick yourself to believing that you know something when you actually don't. Because like you can't just go for months and be like, oh, I don't know, I don't have an advantage. I have no alpha. I can't figure out the alpha, so I'm not going to do anything. I just won't do anything if I don't have the alpha. I had a hedge fund. Did I tell you? I had a hedge fund. This is crazy too. So everyone my whole life was telling me, you have to start a hedge fund. You have to start a hedge fund. You're crazy. You have to start a hedge fund. There was a person.
But what is the timing and what is when did that happen? So you quit your job. You were out of the job for how long?
A year while I wrote the book.
And
then I started. I joined my buddies at e-Carlist, and we worked there for a few years. We sold that company. Then I was involved with another company that we bought half of, and we helped run, and we exited that. Like we were flipping these companies. Then I started my own company, Ticker Tags. Ticker Tags was a social data intelligence company for Wall Street hedge funds and sell-side banks. It was everything I had always done, but I institutionalized it in software. I basically, me and my business partner, Jordan McLean, who's my YouTube partner now, we created software that would ingest Twitter data in real time. We had an actual legit license with Twitter to ingest their Deca hose, 10% of the fire hose. And we created a platform of about over 1 million word combinations, and we would measure the volume of speech around those word combinations on a minute-by-minute basis. Brilliant. And any time that there was an acceleration in conversations around a topic that was relevant to a company's products or brands or anything, we could see it through the data. And so I sold that to hedge funds. Well, right at the same time that I started that company, there was a gentleman in my extended family who wrote me letters, and I didn't realize that he was very sick at the time. He had cancer, but he would write me very, very long letters trying to convince me to open a hedge fund. And because he thought that with what I was capable of doing in the financial markets, if I opened up a fund, and he was brilliant. He was a Stanford grad, brilliant guy. And in his network, he had billionaires and stuff. He said, Chris, you could be one of these billionaires. And with that money, what you could do positively in this world in terms of funding medical research. And he was always focused on medical research. He's like, I don't think you realize the good you could do in this world. You could have more impact than almost anyone else in this world. And I was like, it just stuck with me. I was like, am I like, do I have to do that? If I have this ability, I feel like maybe I have to do that. And so he ended up dying, and then I really took it to heart, and I felt that I had to do it. The mission. And because I didn't realize why, I didn't know it was until after he died. I didn't know he was sick until after he died. And now everything made sense. It all made sense. I spent over a year raising a $10 million hedge fund, which is nothing. Nothing. $250,000 checks from all the biggest family offices in Dallas. And a guy who's a friend of mine, Joey Lane, took me around to all these big family offices. I don't have that network. And they all wrote me $250,000 checks. I thought it was the coolest story, like how I invested in stuff. And I got a total of 2 trades out in the hedge fund before I was forced to close it, because my company Ticker Tags was blowing up at the time. And the people that wanted to invest in Ticker Tags to be my clients, which were big hedge funds, said, well, I mentioned in a meeting that I ran a hedge fund on the side. And they said, well, wait, you can't run a data company that sells this data and run your own hedge fund because you're going to front run us. And they said that, and I was like, how big of an idiot am I to not realize that that was going to be a problem?
Right.
I would never do that, but I could never prove to them that I was never going to do that. I can't have it both ways. So all the guys that invested in my hedge fund, I said, listen, I'm at this fork in the road. I can't do both. And I've spent years now prepping this company.
Maybe somebody didn't explain this to Citadel and to anyway, but that's a...
Yeah. Well, maybe. What's funny
Citadel, Citadel does exactly that.
Yeah, I don't know, but it's funny because those are the guys, all those guys. Like, we're talking top 7, 8 hedge funds that were telling me this. So I was like, guys, this software is my life. It's my dream. It's my true dream. Like, I got to see this through. I'm going to let all y'all invest in my software company, but I got to close the fund down. It was the most expensive thing to have to set up a hedge fund back then and then close it down. We're talking hundreds of thousands of dollars out of my pocket. Yeah. Got 2 trades out. It was like, anyway, so now I have the software company. The software company ends up being the greatest thing I've ever done because that software company allowed me to see behind the curtain of Wall Street, which was my dream. That was actually my dream. Because growing up, I always thought, like, how am I doing this and they're not? Like, they have, like, I want to know how they think. I want to know how hedge funds think. I didn't want to go work for one. Like, I didn't want to, like, spend my whole life working at a hedge fund, but I really wanted to get it. And so that company, because all the big hedge funds are my clients, whether or not they ultimately paid me or not, they spent years vetting me. So I was working with them, trying to get them to pay me money, and they were evaluating my software. So I was working with some of the top guys at the top quants and the top guys at the top funds. And I got to see behind the curtain, and behind the curtain is the ugliest mess. It is just like this massive cluster, bureaucratic, slow-moving conflict of interest, afraid to stick your neck out. What's really genius about that business, like, I look down on it because they're just not awesome at trading, but they're smart because they realize that they don't have to be. You know what I'm saying? Like, they're making so much money just by, institutionalizing this and like getting a lot of AUM and not messing up. Like they don't need to be great. They just need to be like basically the same as everyone else and put on a good dog and pony show. Yeah.
As long as they get the percentage, they're good to go.
So I figured that out then. But that's what no investor understands. Every investor thinks that the market is rigged against them because Wall Street has all this power. I'm like, no. They are the worst. They don't care about beating you. They're not trying to beat you. They don't even care. I was like, the market is rigged in our favor as retail investors because we can do things that they just can't or won't or just don't care to do. It's like they're not incentivized to like be quick and be great on this stuff. And they have to go through a bureaucratic process to trade. They got to document all this stuff. These guys, at the end of the day, they got families. It's a job to them. It's a job, right? They're not scrappy. So I learned, that gave me the confidence to realize that, you know what? Like, I could really blow this up. Because now that I wasn't afraid at all, once I sold ticker tags to Jefferies, and it wasn't like a big financial win for me and my investors. It was a distressed sale because Twitter data that I was relying on was becoming so expensive. They picked me and only 2 other companies to continue to license data to in finance, but they wanted millions and millions and millions of dollars. Yeah. And I was like, I got to raise another 5-6 million on top of the 5-6. I had Thomson Reuters as an investor. I had awesome investors. I was like, guys, I got to raise another 5-6 million. And we looked at it and we were like, Twitter data wasn't even that good anymore for what I wanted, because remember, the Twitter was great when people spoke about what they were thinking, what they were going to buy, what they were wearing, what they were interested in. Twitter had evolved into like nothing but news and politics, and the finance Twitter was like talking about stocks, not talking about brands. So it was just like bad timing, and so I had to sell the company in a big like earn-out deal to M Science, which was the data science group under Jefferies Bank, and they spent tons and tons and tons of money to grow the company, which was awesome because I wanted to see it like live on. And then just they ended up like dismantling it and taking pieces of it and stuff and putting it in their other data sources. And a few years later, when COVID hit, They regretted that because all the people that never wanted to pay big for that software realized how special it really was. And I got all these phone calls and they were like, we need ticker tags, we need ticker tags. And people, my old employees were like, oh my gosh, like everybody wants it, but now they can't have it. So it's like we were too early, if that makes sense. We were like years too early.
And you had to aggregate many more social network feeds to get a real.
Yeah, you're right. Yes. What you really needed was comment on videos, comment data, which is doable. You can get it. You can scrape it. Like I always tell people, the gold the last 5-6 years has been comments on TikTok videos, because TikTok is where people express themselves.
Right.
TikTok is where the culture is.
Right.
And where the culture is, it's not even the videos, the comments on the videos
Right.
are where people debate and express themselves and have awesome conversations. Now that you get in the minds of people by reading those comments, and you can see the world unfold in real time. It's not about predicting the future, it's seeing the world as it's unfolding right now. And if you know that, then you know what people are buying today. You know what people are going to buy next week. And like Wall Street at their best is still using transactional credit card swipe data, which has to be cleansed, analyzed, filtered, and then you got to make decisions. So ultimately it's like weeks old by the time they're trading on it. You know, you can get like a multi-week head start on Wall Street, but also Wall Street doesn't have the talent anymore. They don't really have the people who are capable of analyzing this stuff. So like there are just so many advantages that retail traders have over Wall Street, and it kills me that this new generation is like, they're screwing us, like they're just, it's rigged. Like, yeah, it's rigged against them. It's rigged in our favor. You just like stop beating yourself up. There's nothing special about what I do. I'm not like some genius. I'm just like, I know where to find the alpha.
You keep telling us you're not that genius. You keep telling us it's so simple, and yet not that many people are picking up on it.
Because people think that you have to be like conventionally smart, but no. You do have to be a little bit smart in a different way than other people. Okay? So like, yes, I am a little bit smart in a totally different way than other people. But I'm not like, my IQ is definitely not like up here. Like I know it, because I know what my IQ was. You know, I know I'm a middle of the road guy. I am a regular guy.
But you know, many people have really highly specialized skills intuitively.
Yeah, agreed.
And I think, you know, you have this really, and it's interesting that you stumbled upon it in such a young age and really evolved it and developed it. Now